Two things before we kick off. I have to apologise to Ricky before you get into this conversation that we have, which is so good. He's still the guy that I knew 18 years ago because I haven't spoken to him since then. And so the image and the personality I have in mind is still the guy down at the Debbie, which was the bar that we used to go to pretty much every night. And so I walked into this conversation really wondering what he was going to be talking about and really how much insight would I really get. And in fact, he really made me sit and think and challenged me and challenged my view of him. But also the second thing is if you're at all triggered by abuse in the home or mentions of suicide, please do take a moment to think about whether you do want to listen to this. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, I'm all ears. Just keep it kind. All right, give me your name, sexual preference, relationship status.
My name's Ricky, heterosexual geezer, and I am engaged.
Nice. I love that, heterosexual geezer. That's brilliant. All right, so Ricky, we knew each other. God, it felt like so long ago, more than 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Which to me is insane because that's a long time. That's like lifetimes.
It's a long time. It doesn't seem like 15 years, but yeah, when you look back on it, you think, oh shit.
Yeah, and we've got wrinkles
15
now
years.
and like maybe some grey hairs going on and
Plenty of them coming through, beard,
yeah.
head, other places don't want to talk about.
Whole lives have happened. As you know, I had Egg on as well. She was my very first conversation, and that was really interesting. Like again, whole lives have happened in between our PGL days up to this point. As I stare down the barrel of 40, and you are already there.
I'm 44. I'm 44 this year. What are we in now? May, June, July. 4 months.
44 in 4 months, and you're engaged.
I'm engaged, yeah.
Yeah. Is this the first time because we really haven't spoken. Is this the first time you've been engaged?
On a long term, yes. Once very, very, very briefly. But on a long term, yeah, we've been engaged for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years, coming up to 9 years. We've just never had the money to get married. That's the thing.
Oh, okay. So it's literally that.
It's fine. It's expensive. But the thing is, we've lived together since the first year after we were together. So we were together for a year. We then moved in somewhere. I was having a lot of problems back home with family. I had a chance to move away up to Northwest London. So I took it and we moved in. And we've been together now. We're 13 years next month. We've been together.
Wow.
Engaged for that for 8. We got engaged because I found out my missus was pregnant. Okay. So I had this whole thing planned where I was going to propose. It was like on my birthday, then it was going to be on Christmas Day, and I had all these plans, and then come in with the stick and went, I'm pregnant, and I ran and got I was playing Xbox at the time. So I just ran in. I just went, oh, well, here you go. And it was the most unromantic proposal you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's the done thing. I've got to do it.
It's the done thing. What, as in, like, because she's pregnant, you can't have a child out of wedlock? No,
it wasn't that. It was more, we were going to anyway, but it sort of rushed the process.
Okay.
It was like, right, okay, if I do it now, then, things, it won't, it was sort of, I don't know. I think from the outside, it looks better, but not really. It didn't change anything, if you know what I mean. It's just a nice shiny ring with a, but I bought the ring 3 months previously. So it was already
a thing.
It was already a thing. Yeah. I was just planning the date to do it, and I was going to do it on my birthday, and I was going to do it on Christmas Day, and then Yeah.
Yeah. I say obviously having a kid out of wedlock, but you didn't actually get married anyway. So,
No, so no, we have a bastard child, simple as. We have a Jon Snow.
and I sadly only lightly get that Game of Thrones reference. Should it be a Game of Thrones
Yes, it's a
reference?
Game of Thrones reference. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah.
like
Or,
one
yeah.
of only one that hasn't ever seen Game of Thrones.
Anyone that listens to this watch Game of Thrones will know it. Yeah, well, I have a Jon Snow.
Okay. That means fuck all to me. All right, so yeah, you've been engaged for 8 years, and you say
Yeah,
like that doesn't change anything. It never changed anything. Do you think that actually getting married would change anything?
no,
You
honestly,
reckon?
no. We've spoken about it, and we're practically married anyway.
Mm,
You know, we're in. You know, we just haven't got the bit of paper that says, and I haven't. You know, because I was going to go against tradition and take my missus's surname because I've got a lot of
yeah.
family problems,
Mm,
and I basically have been disowned by my family. Full stop.
mm,
So the whole changing my name seemed changing to my name seemed pointless. So I was going to go the other way around, go against tradition,
mm,
change it other way around. That was the only change, really. That was going to happen. We felt that it's a bit of paper. It
yeah.
just says you're married. It's an expensive day. It's a big party. Everyone gets drunk. There's probably a fight between two cousins or two uncles or something, or my aunt will kick off. And well, it's if they turn up. We're practically married anyway. You know,
Yeah.
we've lived together for the past 12 years.
Mm,
You know, we have a child. Um, we do everything that a married couple does.
yeah.
We bicker, we argue, we don't, we have fun, we laugh.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you know, a lot of people. I think there's a big people get married and then feel this pressure.
Mm,
You know, it's like, oh, I'm married now. Oh, I've got to behave in a certain way, and it's like, well, I've behaved how I am throughout these 13 years. I've never looked at another woman. I've never cheated. I've never done
mm.
anything like that. It's probably the only time in my life I haven't done that. To be fair,
Okay.
and yes, you know, oh, yes, I know. It's not going to that one, but it's you know, I think people put too much pressure on it. Too much pressure on. I need to get married. I have to get married.
Mm,
We've been engaged. We have to get married. You know, and it was only like I think we were watching a program a couple of months ago about this couple. They were 80 something, 88 and 86,
mm.
and they've been engaged since they were 19.
Wow.
And it was only until he's like, you know, I think he had cancer or dementia or something, and he basically went, before I lose it, just get married, and they
Mm,
did. But they were happy. They were happy for those 60, 70, whatever years that they were engaged for. They had a
yeah.
happy life. They had, I think, 6 children. They were happy, and that's what I mean. We're happy. We're not rushing to go. Oh, I have to get married. We have to get married. You know, we have to do it. We have to have this certificate. It's a bit of paper. At the end of the day.
Mm, yeah. No,
And
that is true, and it's interesting though you say about taking your other half's name because it's not something that a lot of men do. When you've expressed this to people, assuming that you
yeah.
have you ever come up against any,
Oh yeah, yeah.
opposition or I want the word that comes to mind is cruelty, but I don't mean in that way, but being derogatory towards you and your decision.
Oh yeah. I've been told by mainly men to
Mm,
man up, you big wimp. What you doing? You big girl's blouse. Why are you taking a woman's name for? Blah blah.
mm,
Females, completely opposite. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant.
yeah,
When you explain them the situation
yeah,
of like, I have no contact with my parents. I have no real contact with siblings bar one brother and sister that I see now and again, but I've got a sister that I see regularly.
mm,
My other brother I don't have any contact with. So I'm sort of black sheep.
yeah,
And it seems pointless to then say to my missus, "What, you have to take my family name."
yeah,
because what's she coming into? She's not coming into anything. Whereas I've been accepted by her side of the family.
Mm.
So why would I want to, and it's sort of that's the whole name thing. It's the whole bringing your family, and it's bringing the person into the family. I don't see the point personally, and I don't see any reason why. I mean, my daughter's not even got my name.
Mm.
When she was born, my daughter, she was born with a brain condition. She's got multiple complex disabilities.
Mm.
She had my name at birth, and then my family were so unsupportive when she was
Mm.
born, and I was thinking about the future. Like if anything happens to me, anything happens to my missus, her having my surname would give my family more of a priority over.
Mm.
So I changed it. I depolled her name,
Mm.
and I gave my daughter that surname to my missus. Said, right, she's now takes your name.
Mm.
Her family have more right if anything happens
Yeah.
to her in the future. And that's just me forward thinking. That's
Mm.
just me getting things right for my family, people that I love and cherish,
Mm.
and that's just the way the way it's all turned out. But I mean, to be fair, like it's not made any bad impact on my relationship or not on
Yeah.
our relationship, and in fact, it's probably made it a little bit stronger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked this question in the last couple of days, actually, putting it out about friends and family driving decisions in a relationship and that kind of thing. I think in this way, has the influence or the experience that you've had with your family influenced how you operate and set up your family with your fiance, with your daughter?
Oh yeah, yeah, completely. I mean, like my you know, I didn't have my biological father. Nothing. I see him what it was on and off throughout my life until he passed away when I was 29.
Mm.
But even then, it was, you know, it was like, yeah, you're my dad.
Mm.
You're dead. Okay. And family, I was pressured into doing things which at that time I wasn't with my missus. It was a year before I
Mm.
met my missus, so I was drinking heavily then,
Mm.
and I was sort of pressured into funeral, carrying the coffin, doing all these speeches and acting like the grieving son when
Mm.
deep down inside. I mean, I know now going through, I went through 2 years of therapy because I had a breakdown in 2019.
Yeah.
So I know sort of going through therapy, I know the reason how I am the way I am now. It
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Mm.
But I have an emotional thing where
Mm.
because of my upbringing, I'm void of emotions.
Mm.
Like funerals, I don't cry. Weddings, I don't cry. You know, sad films. I think only one that I've had a tear, and that was a Green Mile. Um, yeah, just one film. Um, and for that, it was growing up without a dad as a role model.
Mm.
My stepdad wasn't really a role model. He was
Mm.
more of a bully. My mum, a complete control freak. So
Yeah.
she had majority of, when she would meet someone that I was seeing when I was younger, it would always be negativity to them about me more than,
Mm.
people normally praise the kids up, whether it be the other way around.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like growing up, that sort of um, like emotional status of being with someone and doing, I would say, like, I don't like the word normal, so I don't believe in it, but the
Yeah.
usual things you do as a couple. And if you, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea how to start a relationship, or I've only had my longest relationship before this one was 18 months,
Okay.
and I think I was happy in three of them, 3 months out of that 18 months.
Okay, right, yeah.
And that was it.
I mean, one, fucking high five on therapy because it's hard to go to therapy, but I feel like it's even harder for a guy to go to therapy and say that they went to
Yeah,
therapy.
yeah,
Which I think is incredibly sad, but it's the world we live in and we can make that change. So of course, how you grew up, it like had a tremendous influence on the relationships you were having, especially if your mum, you're walking into a room with girlfriends and your mum's actually almost like dominating behavior,
yeah,
right? To
yeah,
belittle you. So she's like, I'm the power in the room,
yeah.
which oh I've experienced that in different ways, and that the way that feels is absolutely not nice. Did you walk into this relationship you have now with those same things going on? How was it different? Or did that happen over time? You had to change your behaviors?
I walked into it exactly the same. So the first year that we were together
Mm,
was horrendous.
mm,
I didn't know what to do. And because I didn't know what to do, looking back on it, I see myself as quite clingy.
mm.
And I wanted to rush everything. I
Okay.
wanted everything to be rushed. We'd both come out of quite crap relationships previously, both of us.
Mm,
My missus had more long term relationships than I have.
yeah.
So I've had one 18-month. One of my previous exes,
Mhm.
possibly two, but that didn't last very long. Um, and it's like I didn't know what to do with any of them. So going into this, it felt like the relationship virgin still,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't, I couldn't set myself up just to be just stop, Ricky, just be normal. And then one day I was doing things that she didn't know I was doing. I was heavy on the drink.
Mm,
I was heavy on the drugs. I was going out with mates all the time. I was going on 4-day benders. I was
yeah.
still working, all paid for it out of my own pocket.
Mm,
And I then just told her, look, this is me now. Like all that, what I was doing, this is what I do.
mm,
I go to football, I fight, I go out and I will do drugs. I will drink until a lot because I'm on the drugs. And I told her like this is who I am. So if you're all right with it, then fine. You know, if you want to run, then run. I don't mind.
was that a test?
Yeah, because I'm used to people running.
So was that like a almost like you're kind of trying to walk yourself into a self-fulfilling prophecy, like,
Yeah,
"This is who I am. I'm Ricky. I'm on a drugs.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
woo," and
I'm a
then,
gazer.
like,
I'm a gazer. Yeah, yeah,
"Woo,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
then you're like, "Well, I'm gonna say that to her," and then she's gonna be like, "Fuck that, I'm out,"
yeah,
and you'll be like, "Yeah, see, she can't fucking handle this,"
yeah,
and
yeah.
then she
And then she
didn't.
didn't. And she didn't. And then it sort of revolved and revolved. And then I've got my mum was still interfering,
Mm,
and then family were interfering, and my brother was interfering.
mm,
And then eventually I was like, right, it's either I want to have a relationship with someone that I know. It's not about soulmate or anything like that. Like,
yeah,
it's not about soulmate. It's about being with someone that doesn't run away at the first little inkling that, oh, there's a little bit of trouble.
mm,
This person's got a problem. I'm going to do one, which is what I've had before.
mm,
So it was, I got out of, basically, I shipped out of town, moved up to Northwest London. We moved into a flat together.
mm.
Yeah, moving in with someone for the first time, is it strenuous? Yes, it is.
Yeah?
Is it sort of like, are you sort of like, or certain points like you cocooned and you're like, oh, want to go out with the boys, want to go out with the boys, and then but your head's going, no, 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 because you've got to be grown up now to a certain point.
Mm,
I'll always be 12 in the head, but I've got to grow up at some point. Yeah, like, and then once that sort of first year of living together got out of the way, it then just rolled
mm,
and became natural. So then, we were doing things like, just going down the cafe on a Saturday morning, have a bit of breakfast, go back, or make breakfast at home,
Mm,
have a fire up indoors, a bit of dinner in the evening, um, just chilling out in front of the TV, maybe get a couple of drinks in, and have a little
mm.
party of our own, and just yeah, and
How
it just rolled, it rolled.
how did you get to that though? Because you tell her this is who you are, and I'm guessing from the statement of this is who I am, there was no like I ain't changing for like
I think she,
there was no
she
I'm changing.
yeah, I think she saw through the bullshit a little bit.
She saw through the bullshit,
Yeah,
and then you are moving in together. When does your behavior change?
it took. I mean, in terms of, I was still. I think for the first few years, I was still sort of going out with my mates now and again, popping down to South London, going out, coming back.
Mm,
I was still doing the drugs for a while. It all changed when my daughter was born.
mm,
That was the day that, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's like a father thing,
mm.
that as soon as you see your kid, you're like, fuck, now it's time to grow up. But,
Yeah.
like you can't be, and then it's sort of like you want to be, for all her problems and everything that she's got, excuse me, you still want to be a role model, because it's like, my real dad was a drinker.
Mm,
Copious amounts of times when I was a kid, I'll be in a car with him after he's had a beer,
yeah.
way over the limit. My stepdad, you know, ex-con, prison. He was a fighter all his life. He was a doorman. He was a bit of a bully. He was a disciplinarian. So he used to beat me quite a lot
Mm,
growing up. And I didn't have any sort of positive role models.
yeah.
So I'm like, well, once my daughter was there, and I'm sort of like, right, well, how can I be a positive role model if I'm doing this?
Mm,
I'm drinking, I'm doing drugs. That's not a role model. I'm basically following on from my past.
yeah.
And it's like, it's time to go, right, enough. Enough's enough.
Mm,
All right, never be an again or it. You ain't got to be teetotal and, but you shouldn't be doing it 5 days a week. You shouldn't
yeah.
be plowing through 2 bottles of wine in one night. You shouldn't be going out getting, buying drugs.
Yeah.
It needs to stop. So it's from then had a serious, like, I relapsed a couple of times.
Mm,
I didn't realise at the time, but I was suffering with like a depression.
yeah.
So I had a severe depression, which led up to the breakdown, because I didn't, as you say, a man getting help is not seen as is seen as weak.
Yeah.
So I left it and left it and left it and left it until literally my brain, it broke.
Yeah.
It completely broke. It snapped. And I remember to this day, I just broke down in front of my missus. Literally, I think I cried for about 4 hours.
Fuck.
And that morning, I tried to kill myself,
Mm,
standing on the edge of a train platform, right, just wanting to throw myself in front of a tube.
yeah.
But I didn't. Some voice in my head went, "Stop! Just go
Mm.
home. Just go home and let it all out." And that's what I've done.
How? Because that's heavy shit. What's it like for your other half to get that to only know that version of Ricky
Mm,
and then not know a new version, but this different version of Ricky, this different not doing drugs or, less drugs, less alcohol, staying at home, being a dad, being present. Was that, do you think, easy for her to navigate? I imagine that while it's something that someone always wants,
yeah,
sometimes it can be really difficult to actually get comfortable with a changed person.
I think she always saw it inside me,
Mm,
but I was the kind of person that was. everything was a front.
Mhm.
You know, the drink and the drugs, it was all a front.
Mhm.
It was all a complete, like, oh, this is what I am. I don't give a monkeys.
Mm.
You know, I don't give a shit. Don't care about life.
Yeah.
You know, people don't care about me. I don't care about you.
Yeah.
You know, it was all just a massive. It was just a complete fake.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, and she saw something in me that I didn't see,
Mm.
and she told me that. She said, "I see you as a nice Jenny. You know, you." She said, "You even do it sometimes now. Sometimes I do give that hard nut shell. You know,
Mm.
I say it like for a joke, like what you know, hard as was it as hard as stone and as black as ice.
Mm.
You know, that kind of thing." And she's like, "No, she's not. That's rubbish. You know, you're not. You know, you're a kind, gentle human being, but
Mm.
you." I've had to grow up with it, so
Yeah.
that's been really hard to shape because I've had to grow up with that sort of, yeah, you know, like my stepdad, like, you know, used to beat me, and it's just like I wouldn't, as much as it hurt, and I'll come out with handprints all over my body.
Mm.
I would still be resilient.
Yeah.
I was still like, you know, you
Still going.
still going, like, you know, I would still be a right prat the next day. I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't sort of go into a shell.
Mm.
And that's just how I've had to grow up. But and
Mm.
also, but another part of me also is that it's also my protective side.
Mm.
You know, not only of me but of my family. Like, I'm very protective over my daughter.
Mhm.
You know, we've had some absolutely horrendous remarks because of her disabilities. We've had some prejudice that people don't really talk about
Mm.
because prejudice against disabled kids is not. I don't think people really recognise it. But we've had some absolutely disgusting things from people,
Mm.
and my protective side is that I have a big mouth and I can't keep it in,
Mhm.
you know, and I will say stuff and people don't like it. But it's like, but you're okay to attack her at the time she was 5,
Mm.
you know, and but that I think that's just it's sort of it's a good thing and a bad thing, you know. I mean, you know, she saw through the bullshit completely.
Yeah. And so she knew
Um,
it was there.
yeah, she
Yeah.
knew it was there. It was just, you know, like the old Shrek, you know, peeling off the layers.
The
You know,
onion.
yeah, the onion. That's it. Yeah, the onion.
Yeah.
Peeling the layers of the onion. And that's all what it was. And now, you know, I'm different, but not different.
Mhm.
If you know what I mean. I'm different in terms of I'm not as irresponsible as I was.
Yeah.
Not so different in terms of how I am. I'm still me. You know, I'm still the one that gets up on karaoke and sings Elvis, for example.
Good time. You're still singing that song.
I'm still singing it every day in the shower. Don't worry about that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Good times. The old Thursday karaoke down at the
Yeah.
Debbie. Okay. What sticks in my brain since you said it about you went home and you let it all out in front of her and you cried for like 4 hours. For someone that, was very much, there's a front to you, you're the big man, this, that, and the other. How did you look at her and go, I trust this person so much that I can just be real. I can let this all go.
Because I've done so many things where I tried to push people away.
Mm,
I will say things to push people away, expecting them to run,
mm,
and she hasn't.
mm-hmm,
And I've, you know, and I have not. I wouldn't say like horrendously nasty, but I have said things on purpose. It's like a silly thing that I used to do.
mm,
I don't really do it any much now, but because I'm secure now.
mm,
But even back in the early days, it was still I wasn't as secure as I am now,
yeah.
and I would say things. I would, you know, how do I explain it? I would things would create in my mind
Mm,
completely false crap.
yeah.
You know, she's seeing someone else, or you know, that guy's better than me, or you know, she's got a friend that's amazingly good looking, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, one chance and she's off.
Mm.
Um, those would create in my mind because of the insecurities.
Mm.
So I would say things to try and it was always like for me, sort of a test, but also not wanting her to go,
Mm.
but also wouldn't be surprised if she did because it's like, all right, oh yeah, fuck it, it's they're all the same,
Yeah.
run away, that sort of thing. Um, so when I did have the breakdown, yeah, it was literally I knew that I could do it without someone saying, oh, man up, oh come on, weakling, you've got to you've got to get on with life, chin up. I hate that word. I hate the saying. Gets on my nerves. Oh, chin up, and it's just I knew she wouldn't do that,
Mm.
so I felt comfortable. Just and I knew that she would give me the advice that I needed,
Mm.
which is you need help. Like you've gone through, 20 years of just absolute crap, and you need help. That's where, well, if you get that in a relationship, you know it's it's strong.
Yeah.
And if that person says to you, you need help, I will be there. You've got to do it.
Mm.
I can't. I can hold your hand,
Yeah.
but I can't do it for you.
Hmm.
You have to do it. You have to do it. And that's what I
Yeah.
done. I made the appointment. I had the phone call. The doctors were like, right, you're on a priority, so we're going to get you in straight away.
Mm.
2 years later, I understand myself better now.
Yeah.
And she understands me better now as well. I think there were certain things that she didn't understand, like the emotional stuff, like
Hmm.
with the depression and things like that. So now I can say I'm actually okay now sitting there. If I get a what they call like a black dog day,
Hmm.
where 1 minute I'll be fine, and then it's miss just like I'm able to sit there and go, I'm having a really bad head day today,
Mm.
and she'll go, okay, anything I can do.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I will go, no. I'm just, if I'm quiet all day, you know why. I'm just having a really bad day.
Mm.
I don't know why. I can't tell you why. It's just what it is. And she will go, yeah, fine. Whereas previous relationships before, I wouldn't say it
Mm.
because I was afraid to. But if I was having, I didn't know I had depression then,
Yeah.
but when I was having those days where I'm just like, what's wrong with me? Ah, come on. What's wrong with you? Come on, blah blah blah. Oh, you was fucking miserable.
Mm.
And that's that, and it wires you up even more. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable, and I think that's really important. Like if you're comfortable to say to your partner, "I'm having a really really bad day. I woke up this morning. First thing I say is I'm going to be quiet, maybe for a couple of hours, maybe for the day. I don't know. My head is just bogged,
Mm.
and I don't know why."
Yeah. That's
And they go,
pretty fucking powerful stuff. Do you know what I mean?
"Yeah,
It feels so simple,
yeah."
but it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and it's hard as well. It's really
Mm.
hard to say because you always. I think you're because of the way that you're feeling at that moment. You're almost expecting the other person to not understand.
Mm.
To be sort of quite obnoxious about it or defensive, like and it comes back on them. It's like no, it's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's me. Like I'm just having a bad day. And when you've got someone that says, "Yeah, okay, that's fine. Is there anything I can do for you?"
Mm.
No, because there isn't really,
Yeah.
you know. But it's nice to hear that, you know, is there anything I can do for you? That's all. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah. You don't need someone to fix it. You just
No,
need to know that someone's by your side.
yeah, it's it. You just know that when if you do sort of fall down a little bit,
Mm.
got a little shoulder you can just lean on,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah,
That's
yeah, You don't need a fixer. You just need a little bit of support, right? Because you can't, you know. It's
Yeah.
the same, it's the same. So many people say it to me. Yeah, B, are you okay? Is there anything I can do or say?
Mm.
9 times out of 10, it will always be no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
makes that person feel like they are supported,
Mm.
and that's all it takes. I think some look too deep
Mm.
into it, so deep into the fact that they what is help? Like they like, oh, I'm sitting having a bad day, so like I need like a counselling session off my
Mm.
partner. No, your partner's not there to give you a counselling session.
Yeah.
Your partner's there to say, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can do?"
Mm.
You know, even if it's like, yeah, do you know what? Pop to Sainsbury's, gets a box of Maltesers.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah.
And that one simple thing,
Yeah.
and that'd be it.
Just help
Come
me eat
back.
my feelings. It's all right.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, come back with a box of Maltesers, you munch them all on your own, and they go, yeah, all right, then you're sweet. You're like, yeah, and it lifts. It's a
Mm.
weird thing.
Yeah. She obviously is a huge part of your world and how you operate with your mental health. Do you look at her the same way now as you did when you first met her?
Better,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you
By far.
see?
I don't see a woman anymore. I see a life partner.
I was wondering where you were going to go with
Yeah,
that.
no,
I don't see a woman anymore.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I see a life partner.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the new word for it. I know it all changes now, doesn't it?
Fucking know. I don't know.
I see someone that I'm going to be with until I'm old
Mm.
and dead, probably.
Mm.
But when and that's it. I don't just see a girlfriend,
Mm.
and I don't just see a fiance,
Mm.
even though that's technically what she
Yeah.
is in the engaged world. But I don't
Yeah.
see it that way. I see her as she's everything. Like when my daughter was in hospital, when how was it? I had it was I had an epiphany, and it was I was sitting there, and my missus she had my daughter in her arms, she was feeding her. I said it come to my head, and I went something like, "The universe is affinity, but my universe is in this small room."
Mm.
And I was in a hospital room, and I took a
Mm.
picture of them both. So I went, something like the universe is affinity, but my universe is there.
Mm.
And everyone was like, "Where the fuck did that come from?" But it's what they are. They're both of them. They're my whole world. They're everything and more.
Mm.
And I don't see her as how we did, how we first, because we've both grown
Yeah.
as well. And we've sort of grown. It's not like it is well known that women are more mature than men, and they
Mm.
mature quicker than men.
Yeah.
That is true. I'm the first one to admit it. But in terms of growth, we've both grown along the way.
Mm.
She might be a bit more ahead of me because I'm still 12 in the head, but it's cases of like, we've both grown as we've gone through our journey together.
Yeah.
And we've had a really hard, with my daughter and stuff.
Mm.
We've had a hard journey together. We nearly lost her at 3 weeks in my arms,
Mm.
which I developed PTSD from, which I didn't know I had.
Mm.
And I developed, and the PTSD came not from watching my daughter go blue in my arms, but my other half screaming
Yeah.
because she was going blue, and that's caught that, and it's noise. It's the noise that I struggle with,
Yeah.
and we've had it. She was in hospital for like 4.5 months.
Mm.
She was in and out of Great Ormond Street, in and out of our local Barnet. We're still in hospital appointments now. We was only in Great Ormond Street 2 days ago,
Mm.
like for like checkup appointments. I think we go to, the last 18 months have been pretty hard of her because she's got lung problems. She had pneumonia not long ago.
Mm.
And, but that, some couples, it breaks them.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen couples with kids with disabilities and they completely shatter
Yeah.
and they break. And I think it actually made the relationship stronger because as much as, like, our daughter was a whole well, but it was still a case of like we still had to be there for one another. It wasn't like, I would do all my crying at home.
Mm.
My missus would stay at the hospital. I would go home, get a few hours kip and come back. I had to work as well.
Mm.
So all my crying I done was at home. My job at the hospital was to be the rock.
Mm.
And I know it's really stereotypical and people will think, oh, yeah, it's the man thing. But my job was to be the shoulder to cry on,
Mm.
she'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Even though you're sort of looking at her when she was at her worst
Mm.
and your heart and inside saying, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I'm worried. But at that point, I had to be there for them both.
Yeah.
As soon as I walk away from that scenario, it's like I can let my stuff out on my own.
Yeah.
But at that point, it seemed the right thing to do,
Mm.
and that's also like what my missus done for me when I had a breakdown
Yeah.
is what I had to do at the hospital as well, like, way, way, way before. But that's also like part of it as well, So I had to be, I had to be, I had to be that rock.
Yeah. And how do you go through that though and still not lose the relationship between you and your partner? Because, we see it a lot with couples where a child comes
Mm,
into their world
yeah,
and it
yeah.
becomes parent and child, and then you almost just kind of coexist together, partners in, like, bringing this kid into the world and helping them through the world. How do you still maintain a relationship between the two of you that is not just parents to a child, that is a couple, that it's you and her, not you and her and the child?
I mean, during the hospital days, it was about communicating.
Mm.
So we would still communicate with each other and like how we were feeling,
Mm.
having a bad day. Um, it would be not all about the daughter,
Mm.
even though the focus was on her. We would still, while she was, sleeping, the nurse would say to the nurse, just look after her. We would just something silly. We would just go to Starbucks,
Mm.
get ourselves a coffee. She'll have a fag on the way.
Mm.
Walk up to Starbucks. She can have a smoke, get coffee. We'll walk back again, and then we just chat. Not always about hospital,
Mm.
other stuff as well. Um, like, I don't know, friends, something going on, something's happened. My journey home.
Mm.
Something silly like that. And then once she got out of hospital, as much as again, like, yeah, our daughter is like the focus. We still make time for each other.
Yeah.
So it is silly little things like having a common interest in TV programs where we
Mm.
can both sit down and watch. I won't tell you what I watch because I'm not going to say it on this because it's embarrassing. But we can sit down and watch it together. It's not Love Island, so
I
I
was
don't
just
want to.
about, is it Love
No,
Island?
no, no. It's not. It's not Love Island. I just want to clear that one. But it's it's watching the program
Mm.
and I don't know, just taking the piss as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing we can do. Like we can sit in a beer garden, and I think we were. It was a few months ago. We don't really get out that much. It was a few months ago, and we're sitting in the Witherspoons beer garden,
Mm.
and it was full of little teeny boppers.
Yeah.
Now that we're old, we can look back on it and think, "Oh, what a load of idiots!" And I think we spent about 3 hours just absolutely ripping the piss
Mm.
out of all of them.
Yeah.
and it was fun,
Yeah.
and we laughed and we joked, and that's massive. You know,
Mm.
you don't want it where the only time that you've got together is serious.
Yeah.
You know, forget about all the serious stuff. Forget about the bills. Forget about decorating. Forget about work. Just
Mm.
talk crap.
Yeah.
Just talk absolute nonsense. Take the piss out of people. You know, I don't know. I was again. My mouth runs away. You know, and I end up saying stuff, and it's just, not in a nasty way, but I will just take the mick.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's massively important. Like you got to keep the fun element. I
Mm.
think a lot of relationships they really get to a point where everything is so serious.
Yeah.
Very serious. Everything's serious. Everything's about money. Yeah, money's yeah. Not everyone needs money, but you got to pay your bills.
Yeah.
But it's not life or death.
Mhm.
And yes, at the moment we are in a country in crisis. Everyone's got money problems, but don't let that ruin your life. I'm a big worrier for money. She's not.
Mm.
She calms me down. See, that's the thing. When I'm worrying about money, when I'm worrying about finances and looking at my bank balance, I'm looking at my bills and I'm going, oh, and I'm spinning out.
Mm.
She'll take them off me and go, chill the fuck out. You're not going to die. Bills are
Yeah.
paid. Right? We just got to cut back a little bit this month.
Yeah.
We go and get something. Go elsewhere. We go cheaper.
Yeah.
We go to another supermarket, get some cheaper stuff. She's very good at that.
Mm.
I'm because I did grow up in a very poor household
Yeah.
where everything was either second-hand, hand-me-downs, things like that. To not have that now, I don't want my family to be like that. I've got a
Yeah.
reasonably well-paid job, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to worry,
Mm.
but I still do for some crazy reason. And she's the one that's just like, just chill out.
Mm.
But then there's other things when she's worried about, and I will go, just chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
What are you worried about?
You complement each other.
Yeah, and it's it, and it's exactly the same. It's a bang on. It's exactly that. We complement each other in those sort of things. It's not, you know. I think a lot of people in relationships they worry about the same thing, and it's just clash, 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 clash,
Yeah.
and that's when the arguments begin because they're both stressed out, and then
Mm.
it affects the kids. I think. I mean, 1, 2, whatever, everything they got, it doesn't matter. That's when it starts affecting children. I grew up in a household where there were untold arguments.
Yeah.
It was always an argument. Family parties, always a bloody argument. You
With
know,
that though, like being younger in a, I guess, a volatile household growing
Mm.
up, what was love supposed to look like when you were a kid? What was love supposed to look like?
I didn't know. I had no idea.
So did you ever look at yourself and go, yeah, when I'm like 30, when I'm like, this is what it's going to be like? Or,
I had my idea of love was from Hollywood.
hmm
It was wife, 2 kids, house, white picket fence,
mm,
holiday to Barbados every year. Complete fantasy
yeah. Any
because
specific characters that you can spring to mind? Any like show that you were like, yeah, that's,
not really, more from like movies,
mm,
like just a mixture of movies where
mm,
you know what it's like. It's man meets woman, it's love at first sight, and they're together forever and ever.
yeah,
And they never have an argument. They never have they wake up in the morning, they look beautiful with fresh breath,
yeah,
that sort of stuff. I didn't really
yeah,
have an idea. I had no clue.
mm,
And that was also why I had so many. I wouldn't even say relationships because to me, anything over 6 months is a relationship to me. I
right,
didn't. Didn't have that. But that's my not everyone's opinion, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so bad at them, because I had no idea.
Mm.
I had no clue. I didn't know. I thought you had to act a certain way,
Mm.
not real, and I didn't realise what I was doing was, I wouldn't say necessarily the wrong thing, but it was all it was all rushed.
Yeah.
It was all rushed. I wanted everything to happen now rather than
Hmm.
wait it out. I mean, I've hurt people and I've been hurt,
Yeah.
and I've been ghosted. I've had everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, now the time when I did cheating wise, I say not this 13 years, I haven't not done anything,
Mm.
not even really looked at a woman like that because I see it as the grass isn't always greener. A
Yeah.
lot of people think that, oh, the grass is greener. This woman, again, you're taking it at face value. You're
Mm.
not seeing what that person is on the inside. I've been out, yeah, I've been out with some stunning women, yes. And what have they been like on the inside? Fucking horrible,
Mm.
absolutely horrible. But I've also been horrible.
Why did you cheat?
Uh,
That literally is in my brain. Like, you're saying you did that and you've not looked at anybody now, but
I it
why
was
did you cheat?
because so the person I was seeing,
Mhm.
it was very fragmented.
Mhm.
It was very crap. It was very toxic. It was just fueled by alcohol.
Yeah.
And
As
then
most things, as literally everything was back then.
yeah, and it was as everything was. And then I met someone else,
Mm.
and he was lovely,
Mm.
and it was great. It was sort of we were. It wasn't sort of like boyfriend girlfriend. It was just really really good friends that was developing,
Mm.
and things were going well, and we were sort of seeing each other after work.
Mm.
Um, Many nights we'll just sit down, watch a couple of DVDs and have fun, or she would sit out and silly things like sitting out down. I don't even remember if you go down the bottom, you can see the stars and that at night, like through the trees and stuff and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
properly crap. And I do all that, and then she left. She went home,
Mm.
and the idea is to once I leave, to go and see her and then continue.
Mm.
And when she left, I felt a bit. You left. I know you want to go home, and I want to see your family. And I got drunk. I think we was having a party down in the ghetto,
Mm.
and I got drunk, and I done what I done,
Yeah.
and I didn't. It was sort of like, oh, why did I do that?
Mm.
I thought I was smart enough that no one had realised until I think we were away for a week at another centre, Osbington Bay. That was it.
Mhm.
And we were there for a week, and I got a text from her because I texted her a few times. She didn't reply, and then she texted me back, basically saying, "I know what you've done. You've really hurt me." And I'm like,
Mhm.
to this day, I don't know who told her.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Well, I had my suspicions, and then, but then I thought it's my fault.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on a witch hunt. Whoever's grasped me up. But that's not the point.
Mm.
At the end of the day, it's the case of you got pissed, temptation got the better of you, and you were weak.
Mm.
And it's like Eve with the apple. The snake led me away, and I had the apple, and then I got bit in the arse. So
Do you think, because the way the narrative goes sometimes with cheating is that you cheated because you didn't love them enough. Do you think that's correct?
No, not necessarily.
Mm,
No, I think people cheat because it's all to do with attention.
okay.
It's not. It's all to do with you didn't give me enough attention.
Mm.
That was my problem. Yeah,
She wasn't there, so she couldn't give you the attention.
it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then the ex came back, gave me the attention,
Mm,
and I
mm,
in a big way. But 9 times out of 10, I think personally it's to do with attention. You know, like when couples have a kid,
mm.
the mother, it's all about the baby.
Yeah.
Men, 9 times out of 10, will cheat.
Right.
We were another female that's single
Mm.
because it's all about attention. If you don't crave that attention, you won't. It doesn't bother you, which
You
is
don't
what
crave that
I
attention
don't.
now?
No, not anymore. No, no, not anymore. I'm quite self sufficient
Mm.
in just I know what I've got, and what I've got is what I want, and what I want I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So I don't see the point, and I don't see the belief or any reason to then go and find somebody else.
Mm.
Why? Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
If you've got everything, why throw it away?
Yeah.
If I had £1 million, I want dump it on the fire.
Mm.
I'd want it.
Yeah.
So I think that's I think it's the same. To me, it's the same thing. People might not agree, but I mean, people can fall out of love. Yes,
Mm.
they can fall out of love. Were they in love in the first place? That's also a question you've got to ask yourself.
Mm.
Was it love, or was it infatuation, or was it lust?
Yeah.
And I don't really believe in love in first sight anyway. I think love is something that you build.
Mm.
That's what I've sort of learned over the years. So my idea of love when I was a kid was, yeah, it was from like a Hollywood film.
Well, with romance, and they're like
Yeah, it's all woo
enemies
woo
to
and
friends to lovers
yeah,
to like
yeah,
girl goes home from city, hates city job, goes home over Christmas, meets the fucking farmhand, and is all
yeah,
like, oh my God, this is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
Yeah.
complete and utter just fantasy doesn't happen.
Mm.
Or lust, to be honest, which I think people get confused with.
Yeah.
Lust and love are, I won't say the polar opposites, but I think people confuse lust with love.
Knowing how you feel now, do you think that you've ever actually been in love before?
Honestly, absolutely not.
Mm.
No, I can't honestly look back or think back to any woman that I've been with and think I used to love you,
Mm.
because I don't. I didn't. Um, I may have perceived that I did,
Mm.
but when I refused to have any sort of relationship when I was in the army.
Mm.
Didn't want to. It was my career was the only thing that I wanted,
Yeah.
and when that fell short, the only reason why I moved in with the girl that I met, I was on leave, so she was my buddy.
Mm.
Um, and the only reason why I moved in with her when I left was because I couldn't go home. My
Yeah.
mum wouldn't have me back. My nan wouldn't allow me to stay at hers, and she had a flat in a car. And I was on survival mode. The army
Mm.
had just boot me out. I had nowhere to live. I had no sort of recommendations or references to get a place. And it was either just live out on the street for a little while or live with her.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I brought with me from the army was the drinking culture. So
Yeah.
in terms of that, it followed me. But I say for the first 3 months, I would say, yeah, I was happy. And then after that, I was very sort of like, I was still self sufficient. I was self sufficient then as well.
Mm.
I didn't want, it was just me against the world. sort of thing. I had that sort of attitude, me against the world, and I still
Mm.
I wanted to be single.
Yeah.
And coming from, and she was very needy, attention, attention, attention,
Yeah.
take it. So I would, I'll disappear. Like she would, she would ring me at like 10 o'clock every morning when she was at work.
Mm.
Hi, what are you doing? Watching Jeremy,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And then and she was always just on and on. So I'll just go out.
Yeah.
I still be in the pub. I used her basically.
Yeah.
I used her,
Yeah.
and then it got to a point where my eyes then started to wander,
Mm.
and I knew then, I was going out, I was chatting up other women, I was looking elsewhere,
Yeah.
and that's when I knew, right, you need to get out
Mm.
because I didn't want to repeat of. I knew it was going to hurt her,
Yeah.
but also didn't want to repeat what happened at bar.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, time to finish it,
Yeah.
and it was quite cold blooded. I'm not gonna deny that. I wasn't really speaking to her for a couple of weeks. I was quite offish,
Mm.
very stone cold, and bless her, like I got back from work and she had doled herself up, sitting on the sofa, and I just went, "Oh, it's finished,"
Mm.
and that was it. And I actually surprised myself at quite how cold it was, and I went, "Can't do it." I think it took her by surprise that the fact that she didn't react. It was just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, then it was things being thrown at me from another room. Quickly got my bag and popped it. Phoned my mum, basically saying, "Look, I'm phoned my nan. Sorry," and said, "Nan, I'm coming over because I've just left her." So she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I've got the spare room, so come and stay."
Mm.
So I let her know I got my things the next day. Done.
What would you want for your daughter to understand about love, having the experiences that you've had and where you're at now? How do you want her or hope that she sees love as she grows up?
Hopefully, she can see it from my mum and dad.
Mm.
We do show a lot of love. We do share a lot, and we do show it and share it, and hopefully she can see that, you know, as much as people, we don't argue. We have a bicker
Mm.
once every 3 months maybe.
Mm.
But I think showing her that sort of like solid foundation that she knows what it is. Hopefully, she knows what it is.
Mm.
But it's hard because it just depends. I know it's hard because I've known people that have had families in such loving families, such loving parents,
Mm.
and yet they've turned out to be absolute wrong uns.
Yeah.
Like they're in relationships that are abusive, you know, demented to some points. I knew this guy. He's got like 6 kids from 5 different women.
Mm.
His mum and dad are lovely. You would actually look at them and think, I want them as mine.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got a clue.
Yeah.
And there's a few people that I know exactly the same, and they're in relationships where, like, again, their mum and dad are just wonderful. They've been together 30, 40, 50 years,
Mm.
but their relationships are terrible.
Yeah.
So it's hard because you want your child to be with someone that is fairy tale.
Mm.
Yeah, I just don't think it always ends up that way.
Yeah.
It does. It really does depend. I would love to. I would honestly and openly like to say this is how I like it to be, but I can't because growing up in the area that I grew up, I've seen so
Yeah.
many things where it's not always as black and white as people want it to be.
Mm.
And that's unfortunate. I think that's just the way life is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get it. And it's actually quite nice to hear because you just don't know. You don't
No,
know what's going to happen
no,
as they grow up and the experiences they can have elsewhere outside of the home. You can do as much as you can to protect them and help them, but and show them the way in some respects. But yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna wrap it up,
Yeah, right, mate.
but I do offer people to throw it back at me and ask me a question if you would like to ask me a question. Alternatively, you don't even
All right.
have to ask me a question.
All right, going back what you asked me about when you were younger, when
Mm,
I was younger, what I thought love was.
mhm,
You, 20 years ago,
mhm.
what did you think love was?
20 years ago, so how the fuck old am I now? 38. Okay, so 18. 18-year-old me thought love was no, I was already jaded by them. I already thought that it wasn't something that I potentially was gonna have because I thought I was too weird, too different. I was just not normal compared to everybody else. I already was in that wall. I had a
Mm.
wall up. Was quite reserved, standoffish, needed alcohol.
Was that because, though, back then, 20 years ago, to be lesbian, there was a hell of a stigma still?
I think you could say that, but then if you look at there was, if we look at PGL, there was both me and Egg, and we operated very differently. She was pretty easygoing with all the stories that she had, and even the people that she was with while she was there. But I just didn't trust, and so by then I was already jaded. I was already guarded
Yeah,
too much to allow that to happen. I would say I didn't know what love was, but I also thought that it was easier for everyone else but me. And I
yeah,
thought that there was
get that.
something about me that didn't deserve it. So by then I didn't even have an idea about what it was for me, just that it was for everybody else but me. It was very much like just all woe is me, and very kind of, I don't want to say bitter, but just that I thought it was just
Not
easier.
self-deserving.
I didn't think I was worthy of it, and I just didn't think that. I thought it was easier for everyone else, regardless of what they were going through, regardless of seeing people cheat on people, regardless of seeing the arguments with people. Even that, yeah, I just thought I wasn't worthy of it,
Mm.
and that has been a long road. But yeah, by the time I was 18, I already felt like I wasn't worthy of it. So I didn't have an idea about what it was other than it wasn't for me.
What about now?
Oh.
Still up or is it down? Halfway.
Yeah, halfway up that hill. I would actually say, yeah, I'm halfway up that hill because I've still got to do it. I've still got to put myself out there, which is the hardest bit. Because go back to PGL and we did the taster session during our first week.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you remember? We got to try everything, and basically it was them trying to work out what we were good at.
yeah.
And the hardest part is always you're on the tower and you've got to lean back and trust the ropes and trust your instructor that,
You ain't gonna fall.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the next bit. But I've actually got to get up the tower first. Like, I'm not quite up the
yeah,
tower. So I've got to
yeah.
do the dating. I've got to put myself out there. And I know that I just have to keep telling myself that I am worthy, not that I'm worthy. And if people don't want me, then that's their problem, because I don't think it actually works that way. But just that I am worthy. And what I'm learning is that it's not easy. You have to work at it and you will know if it's worth it.
Mm. Got ya.
So I'm very much, my walls aren't there like they were. I'm not reserved or quiet in that way anymore. A very different person. I don't use alcohol, which that one is scary for me not using
Mm.
alcohol to socialize and stuff because I don't drink anymore.
It's awkward.
It is. So that part of it is going to be really because I haven't had a girlfriend or dated while being sober.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be very different. But I'm a very different person. I'm an actual adult now, and can see that the world isn't against me.
No, yeah, yeah. I know you're comfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I just need to put it into practice.
yeah.
So we'll see what that means, what that looks like. I have no idea. But yeah, and I'm learning a lot with speaking to everybody and understanding that it really is no one size fits all.
No, it's not.
And
It's not.
Hollywood
No.
definitely lies.
Yeah, of course it does. Hollywood's Hollywood.
Mm,
It's it's writing on a bit of paper, and it's a script writer is someone that it's what probably their own insecurities on a bit of paper or what they want on a bit of paper.
mm,
But yeah, it's not that way at all. It's hard, and we have to put a hell of a lot of effort into it. If it was the thing where the first person we meet is the one that you spend the whole of your life with,
mm.
what a perfect world.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But it's not. It's practice. It's like every person you meet is like a practice ball.
Mm,
Some work, some don't. You learn lessons, you don't learn lessons.
yeah.
Yeah, I've made mistakes over and over again, and
Mm,
that my mistakes were picking the same sort of woman
mm.
over and over again. That I hate to use the word, but fucking lunatics. It's just that sort of thing.
Mm,
And constantly toxic relationship, toxic relationship, toxic relationship, until you actually go, oh, can't do it anymore.
yeah.
Can't do another
Yeah.
toxic relationship. It's killing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you take that time on your own, you revise yourself, you look at yourself, and you go again.
Mm, yeah.
And
Indeed.
it's life, though. It's life, and you do it we do it with everything. So I don't
Yes.
see why relationships are any different.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, thank you, Ricky. It's been really nice to talk to you.
It's been great talking to you.
It
I've
really
absolutely
is.
loved it.
Thank you.